Everybody, and welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Christina Previtt. I am one of two lead faculty for Modern Management of the Older Adult. As you guys know, we have 3 course offerings. We have our 2 online Essential Foundations and Advanced Concepts, and we have our live version of Modern Management of the Older Adult. If you guys are interested in jumping into any of those cohorts, our next online version of Essential Foundations actually starts today. And so you still have a couple of days to jump on board if you've been thinking about it. Advanced Concepts starts next week, but you have to have taken the online version of Essential Foundations in order for you to get into Advanced Concepts. So, what are we going to talk about today? I thought that we would talk a little bit about the business side of things when it comes to marketing and branding for the older adult. If you guys aren't aware, I'm sitting in, currently empty, but I am sitting in my gym and my physiotherapy clinic, Stave Off. We started about 4.5 years ago. And we have a really special interest in working alongside or having a mission to support healthy aging in our community. And therefore, our target demographic is a slightly older. So I see a good portion of my physiotherapy caseload, as you can probably guess, is over the age of 65. And we have a really big interest in trying to attract individuals over 65 into our clinic, because I just love working with this cohort of individuals. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about how we can get these people into our doors and attract them specifically to our business. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about was your avatar. If you've heard Zach Long talk a bit about marketing, he will always say that your social media marketing, your website should be a true reflection of your avatar. And in our case, our avatar is on Instagram between 40 and 70 individuals who have families, who are really busy, who are trying to fit fitness into their life, or they have an injury that is really affecting their quality of life, and we want to try and help them get back to all of the activities that they want to be able to do. And a great exercise is to write down your avatar. And so multiple times, Nick and I have sat down, and I would say that Nick's avatar is slightly younger than mine. I really enjoy working with individuals in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we have written down everything about them. You know, everything that we could think of, from where they grew up, to how many kids they have, what their ages are they grandparents, what do they like to do in their spare time, what are some of their aches, pains, and issues that we may be able to help them with. And we've tried to be really specific. And going back to this a couple of times a year, or even once or twice a year, can be super helpful because it brings front of mind the person that you are really trying to help. And if that is going to be an older adult, then we know certain things about how older adults consume information online. And so when I am thinking about what I'm going to be writing on our business page, it is very much geared towards that demographic. And that includes the language, the messaging, all of those types of things. One of the biggest, I don't want to say pet peeves, but kind of pet peeves that I see online is that business pages, physiotherapy business pages, who are not doing B2B, they're not selling information. Like ICE is business to clinician. So their verbiage on our social media accounts and these types of podcasts, I'm talking to other clinicians. But when I'm talking to individuals through my Stave Off page, I am talking to a 65 to 70 plus year old. And the way that I am communicating is a way that reflects the the probable health literacy level of that individual. I see so many people online who are talking as if they're talking to another clinician, and it really would go over the head of the person that they're talking to. And it probably isn't, I don't want to say it's a waste of time, but they're losing their target audience. They're not really reflecting their target audience, and sometimes it's just because they want to come across like they really know what they're talking about, which of course you don't want to, I understand that desire, but you want to do so in a way that's reflecting who you're trying to be talking to. And so that's probably number one, is you want to make sure that everything that you're doing is reflecting back to the person that you are trying to talk to. The second thing is where older adults hang out online. And a lot of people assume that people who are older just aren't in touch with technology, and there's a lot of stereotypes and those types of things, which there's some really funny things on YouTube and jokes around and stuff. But on the flip side of that, there are a lot of older adults who are hanging out online. And what we know from social media trends is that young individuals, kind of in their preteens to teens, start a trend on social media. Then middle age and adults follow on that trend, and then older adults follow from there. And I think we're starting to see that with TikTok. So if you guys are on TikTok, that started as 10 to 12-year-olds doing dance moves in video. It used to be called Musical.ly. And now you're starting to see people in their 30s and 40s who are on this app. And so this is the natural progression of every single social media platform that is now popular. It happened with Facebook. It happened with Instagram. I have a lot of my clients whose Instagram handles are like, this person's grandma and, like fit over 60 and all these types of things. And so we're seeing this migration from where older adults used to primarily hang out on Facebook, and a lot of our advertising was done through that platform, and they still do. But we're seeing this migration to Instagram because they want to be seeing what their kids and grandkids are doing, and they know that that's where they hang out. So this natural timeline of where certain demographics of individuals are starting to hang out is pretty tried and true, and has happened in multiple different examples of social media channels. And again, we're starting to see that happen. So most older adults are probably spending their most time from a social media perspective on Facebook, but we are starting to see this migration to things like Instagram and YouTube. We do have a lot of older adults too who still hang out on Twitter. We kind of joke around that Twitter is dead, but there are a lot of people who grab news, and there's like different traffic channels and stuff that update via Twitter. And so we do have a lot of our older adult clients who may be hanging out on that platform. And so if your avatar is for a person who's over 65 plus, then you need to hang out where they hang out. Another one that I think that I haven't really capitalized on, but is probably a really good one, is Pinterest. I know a lot of my older adult clients are looking up, landscaping, gardening, all those types of things, and they're going to Pinterest for different ideas and like tutorials. And so that might be a place where, I think a lot of occupational therapists use that platform. I think Dustin told me that. But something that potentially physios could use as a way to market towards their target demo. And so there's a lot of different examples of the way that we can market. So if we're going to start with our brand and our avatar, and if our avatar is in that 65 plus demographic, how can we reach them? And the way that we can is by understanding where the social media trends are and where our individuals in our avatars are hanging out. The other thing that we can do with an older adult population, especially if you're targeting 80 plus, is that print marketing may actually be something that is beneficial in this cohort. An example that I've done through Stave Off is that we have a local seniors association that has 6,000 or 7,000 local seniors in their membership base, which is a huge demographic of individuals. And they put out a monthly magazine called Vista. And one of the things that I've done with Stave Off over the last several years is every quarter I do a article. It's 300 words. It's not a ton of time, but it's a way for me to get in front of the individuals that I am hoping to serve and do so in a way that can be helpful for them. and I'm doing this easily digestible content. My name is branded on it. I'm not paying anything for it. But from a advertising and marketing perspective, the cost for a print ad in the Vista is relatively low. There's a low barrier to entry into that type of marketing market. And so it may be something that you may think would be beneficial or could work for your area as well. Making sure that the images that you're using, again, are gonna resonate with the person that you're working with. And then that leads me into the third kind of pillar that I wanted to talk about today. And that is the graphics that you are using. Oftentimes, I'm gonna tell you guys a story. So when we first started Stave Off, we were about probably 2 years in, and one of the local health networks reached out to me and said, November is Falls Prevention Month. I really want to run like a falls prevention day, like an awareness day. Would you be willing to donate your space in exchange for a table at the expo? We're gonna have a whole bunch of different clinicians. We're gonna do falls prevention screens. We're gonna have dietitians, orthotists, a whole bunch of different healthcare providers under one roof. We would love for you to be a part of this. And I said, of course, like our not so busy time is between 2 and 4, like come on in. And I saw some of their marketing and branding, and it was all print like flyers that they had given to different family physicians around town, and they had kind of posted it on their bulletin board. There was this many people that showed up. I ended up calling some of my clients to come in because I felt bad that it was literally crickets. And this was something that I really reflected on because this was a big conglomerate in regards to their reach in the older adult market and the population. They do a lot of work with them. And I think it came down to their messaging. Unless you're an individual who has had multiple falls, if you are somebody who has maybe, been hospitalized as a result of an injury of a fall, you may not take time out of your day to go check if you're at risk for falling. Like that was their big pull, is falls prevention screening. And I was just trying to put myself in the mind of my client, and they probably wouldn't go to that. What they would want to know is how can they maintain their balance so they can take a trip to Europe and go on the cobblestone roads? How can they make sure that their knee pain from arthritis is managed so that they can go on a cruise? Maybe they don't want to go on a cruise with COVID-19, but eventually they might want to go back on cruises. And so what are some of those images? And they should be reflected. So you should have these images of individuals gardening and, seeming like they're having a good time and not in excruciating low back pain, or feeling like they can't get down on a knee to weed their garden because it's too painful, or they don't have the range of motion to do it, or somebody has told them that they can never kneel their entire remainder of their life, and so they don't. And those are the images that we want to be portraying in some of our marketing, because that is what we're trying to help. That is the image that will resonate with the emotions and the desires of that avatar. And the more that we can be doing that, the more that we can really reflect on what our older adult clients want, the more successful that we're gonna be. And I think one of the biggest challenges is that we aren't older adults. Like I'm in my 30s, my early 30s. And so I have never been in my clients' shoes. I can try and empathize. I've worked with individuals, but sometimes the best thing you can do is just go and hang out with some of your older adult clients. And so I'm gonna leave you with this final story. So branding, marketing, know your avatar. From there, know where your older adult and that avatar hangs out, and make sure that your messaging reflects what the hopes, desires, wishes of that client are. And if you don't know, hang out with them. And so one of the things that I did when I moved to Stave Off is I became a member of the Seniors Association, and so did my husband. And I remember him signing up because his birth date is 1993. And they called him back and asked him if it was a mistake and if it was 1939, because we were the youngest members of the Seniors Association to ever enroll in Kingston, which is kind of exciting and our claim to fame. But what I did was I went and I played euchre with them in one of their spring sessions. And let me tell you, like, euchre is a competitive sport in the Seniors Association. And it was just such a fun time, but it really gave me insights into, my community, and I got to know my community, and I got to know how I could serve my community. And them finding out that I was a physiotherapist, like, the questions that they asked me really started to be the blog post that I wrote on the website, because that was what they wanted to know about. And it was really, really helpful. It was really fun. I loved it, and I wish I could still do it, but it's like a 3-hour chunk where people are playing euchre, and so my work schedule doesn't reflect that really. But it's just something that you can do if you really are feeling stumped, or you're not really sure how you can think about marketing to the older adult. And I think that that's something that could be super beneficial. All right, I hope you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions or comments about anything that I talked about today, put them in the comments below. Make sure you tag me, because there's a lot that goes through the ICE account, and all of the faculty are kind of on there. So make sure that you kind of tag me so that I can make sure that I address your question. I hope you guys are going to consider jumping on to our online version of Essential Foundations that starts this week. If you've already taken Essential Foundations and you want to jump into Advanced Concepts, we opened up an extra cohort with all the things going on with COVID-19. Some people are not able to make it to live courses, but ICE is starting live courses as of June, so we're super excited to get in front of you. I'm a Canadian, so I really hope that they're gonna let me across the border, and they're not gonna make me isolate for 2 weeks in the US, and then in Canada there's a whole thing. We're gonna have to see how that goes, but hopefully I will be in front of you guys before long, and that you guys are doing well, staying safe, and enjoying some of this beautiful weather. All right, have a great night, guys, or a great day. It's only 8:30, oh my goodness. And we'll see you later.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.